Hi all, welcome back to the channel. Today we are moving beyond basic table creation to master, that is table maintenance generator TMG events. In this video, I will show you how to find the event screen, pick the right triggers and write simple form routine to run basic table into smart and automated tool. SAP Table Maintenance Generator TMG events are predefined hooks that allow developers to inject custom ABAP logic into standard maintenance runtime of database tables. These events are crucial for extending the standard functionalities of transaction SM30, which users typically use to create, update, or delete table entries. When an event occurs, such as saving a data or creating a new entry, the system calls a developer-defined form routine. These custom form routines act as localized ABAP program that automatically trigger during table maintenance to enforce advanced business rules and data validation that standard SAP settings cannot be provided. There are two primary ways to set up TMG events, and the most direct method is using transaction SC11. First, you simply open your custom table. Here, I am using the table your master, which we already configured with the table maintenance generator in our previous section. Once table is open, navigate to utilities. Then, table maintenance generator to access the maintenance screen. From here, you follow the path, environment, modification, then events. Now we get a screen. This is the main screen for the creation of table events. Similarly, we can also create the table events using the T code SE54. Once you enter the T code, provide the table name. Here we are giving the same name, your master. Select the event option and click on create or change. You will notice that this takes to the same screen as SE11. Now our event table is ready. Using edit mode, we can start adding new records. Here, the first color represents event, which action we want to be done. By clicking the options, you can see the multiple events like before saving data, after saving data in the database, before deleting data, after deleting data, creating new data, etc. And let's start with the very first event, that is before saving data. The second column represents the form routine, which is the container for our custom code in table maintenance generator. While TMG provides the standard screen, the form routine is where we write our logic to make that screen behave specifically for our needs. Here, we assign the form routine as before save and then press enter. Once we do this, you can notice that a new editor button becomes active. Then we have to save the configuration. After that, click on the editor button. The system displays a pop-up asking where the form routine should be created. In this pop-up, we choose create a new include. After selecting new include, the system generates a new include program. Then save and activate the newly created include and the associated function group. To verify the form routine has been created successfully, we can place a breakpoint inside the form routine code. At runtime, when the save action is triggered, the system will now execute this before save form routine and the breakpoint will hit. Now, let's try to change a record. For this, go to transaction SM30. Enter the table name your master and then choose change. Here, I will change the first record and then click save. As soon as we save, you can see that our code gets triggered. This confirms that the before save form routine is working correctly and is executed during the save process in SM30. When we maintain a table using SM30, SAP uses some internal tables to handle the data. The first one is total. Total contains all the records that you see on the screen. Whatever rows are displayed, all records, new records or change records, everything is stored in total. So, total always show the complete data during the table maintenance process. Next is extract. Extract contains only the records that we actually change. If we add a record, update an existing one, or deleting a record, only those records go into extract. Records that are not changed will not be there. You can think of extract as a list of changes. The last one is action. This is a small indicator attached to each record in the total. It tells SAP what we did to that record, whether it was newly added, changed, deleted, or not touched. SAP uses this indicator to decide how to save each record when we click Save. When a user creates a new entry, the value of action is set to I, which means insert. If an existing record is modified, action becomes U, indicating an update. When a record is marked for deletion, action is set to D, meaning delete. If a record is displayed but not changed at all, the action will remain blank, which means no action is required. SAP uses these variables internally to decide whether a record should be inserted, updated, deleted, or ignored when the user saves the data. Now we can go back to the form and write the code. Here I am writing a code to check whether the UNO field is empty or not. For that, first we declare a structure ls total with the type ZDO master, that is our table. Then loop the total in the table and check the action field. If action field is update, that means the action field is U. We validate mandatory field like UNO. That is, if UNO is empty, we raise an error message, which immediately stops the save. This ensures incomplete or invalid updates are never saved to database. This prevents incorrect data from entering the database. So, in simple terms, this code can be used to detect update records during table maintenance and run some logic for them before the data is finally saved in the database. Now let's test the data. For that, first go to transaction SM30. First, we are trying to save a data with non-empty UNO. The system checks the data, finds that UNO is filled, and allow the record to be saved successfully. Next, we try to save a data with the empty UNO. This time, the system detects that UNO is missing, shows an error message, and stops the save until the field is filled. Similarly, we can move on to the next event, 02, that is after save. For this event, we follow the same steps we used for the before save event and create a new form routine for after save. Inside this routine, we write the required code. In the after save event also, we using the same logic with the minor changes. For that, first declare ls total with the type of ZDO master, then we loop the total table and check the UNO field. If the UNO field is empty, we display a status message. Since this event runs after the save is completed, so it is only used for informing or logging. It is not used for validations or restrictions. Now let's try to insert a data with empty UNO. For that, go to transaction SM30 and enter the data. Now you can see the message that we have given to that program as shown below. Is in after save, we cannot restrict the save because this logic runs in an after save event. Let me show you an example for this. For that, I am just rewriting the code by changing the success message into an error message. And then I try to modify the record again. This will help you clear that the difference in behavior and understand how the system reacts. Now let's test it. For that, here also I am giving a data with the empty UNO. And you can see that the system throws an error message. But when we go back to the table, the changes are already saved. This is because the after save events runs only after the data has been committed to the database, since the save process is already completed before this code executed. It cannot stop or roll back to the save, even if we display an error message. In short, we can say that in table maintenance, the before save event runs before the data is actually saved to the database. It is used to check or validate the data, make the changes if needed or showing warning, and it can even stop the save if something is wrong. On the other hand, the after save event runs after the data has been successfully saved. It is used for post-processing tasks like updating related table, sending notifications, or writing logs. Unlike before save, after save cannot stop the save process because the changes are already permanent. So to conclude, before the save acts like a gatekeeper that checks and blocks wrong data, whereas after save acts like a helper that runs after everything is saved and just confirms and processes the result. In the next video, we will move on to the other events and explain them step by step. Thank you for watching and don't forget me to join on the next video.